places in the traditional IHRA Night of Fire. And what a night for Melville, New York's Mike Ashley. Despite this bobble, he is the first top qualifier in the class.
Looking at the wing on Ashley's car, we can see that Pro Modified is a class of innovation. A lot of aerodynamics employed in this car. So we sent our own Brett Kepner into the pit area to talk to the guy who calls himself the Kid from New York.
Everybody pretty much has admitted that this car has outdated every other Pro Modified car here.
I agree. Simply stated. I mean, we really spent a lot of time designing this car. Jerry Haas did a terrific job, and I think it's going to work real well.
What's your goal for the 1990 season? You ended the last year with the quickest ET ever. What are you trying to accomplish?
Well, I want to break my own record, and I'd like to see this car go into 660s. I think it's possible. I also think it'll go 215.
At this event?
No, not at this event, but we'll take a 685 at this event.
Nice prediction. We'll see what happens.
Okay, thank you.
And as it turned out, Mike Ashley's day ended there. He got to the starting line where the engine let go, and so Ronnie Sox made a solo run. Now Sox, a big crowd favorite here in South Carolina, coming from just up the turnpike a bit, came out of retirement and really laid down some rubber.
What a run for Ronnie Sox, 722, wheels up off the starting line. A great start for the old veteran.
And there you see the cleanup going on after Mike Ashley's engine let go, or perhaps an oil fitting. Scotty Cannon, another big crowd favorite, also had trouble in the first round of eliminations. The beautiful 1940 Willys went up against Tim McCamus, and the much more contemporary styling of McCamus's Pontiac won out.
Tim McCamus should have won this round. He qualified number 5. Scotty Cannon could only qualify in the number 12 position.
And another crowd favorite, Bill Kuhlman, in that 200-mile-an-hour Chevy Beretta, had problems in the first round. He climbed out very dejectedly, and I'm sure his disappointment matched that of the fans. We'll take another look at what happened. As Kuhlman left the starting line next to Ken Karsten, something broke over there in the far lane. You can see the car never budged. Now we move on to the quarterfinals, where Ronnie Sox pulls in against Brian Gamm.
Well, Brian Gamm managed to qualify in the number 8 position. Ronnie Sox qualified number 16 and barely made it into the show.
And you saw that jetting out from the hood of Gamm's car. What that is the nitrous oxide system, which is run almost exclusively in this Pro Modified class. The crowd goes wild when they see that car go up like a locomotive. Gamm had trouble off the start. Ronnie Sox wins again.
Looks like new car bugs are making them. Sox 714. He's going faster each and every round at 167 miles per hour.
And we expect that as they dial in these cars. This is Blake Wiggins, and he will go up against the guy that beat Scotty Cannon in the first round, Tim McCamus. There's McCamus, once again, jetting out that nitrous oxide in the left lane. Holding the cars right at rev limiter, and they are away. McCamus gets the front wheels way off the ground. In the other lane, Wiggins can't really hold it straight. McCamus has the chance to drive around.
Tim McCamus is hot. He's never been a big name up until now. A 710, and he puts Wicked Wanda away.
Now here comes one of my fellow Georgians, Norm Wisner, in the beautiful Mega Ford. Look at the front end of this car. That is not actually a radiator grill. That is a piece of fiberglass, a spoiler, beautifully hand-painted to look just like a 57 Fairlane grill.
What's about to happen here is one of the things that makes this class so popular, seeing a nostalgia car against a late model.
Now Hoover is at something of a disadvantage. This is a top sportsman car from last year. He's up against a car designed specifically for this class, and he wins.
Look at the ET, 706 at 193 miles per hour. I don't know how these cars can keep going faster on every round.
And he deployed the chute before he got there. Now here's a guy with a pass, Ken Karsten. If you were with us a year ago at the Spring Nationals in Bristol, Tennessee, you know what kind of a day Ken Karsten had at the racetrack. Look out, here he comes. Ah, yes. Well, so much for that. Ken Karsten moves on to the new Pro Modified class with a beautiful Chevy Corvette and absolutely motors away from Michael.
Well, Michael had his hands full. He slowed to a 735. Karsten, a 727, 195 miles per hour.
And by virtue of the quicker ET, in the semifinals, Tim McCamus will have lane choice over Ronnie Sox, and Hoover will have lane choice against Michael Martin. Coming up, semifinal action from Darlington International Dragway. It's the new Pro Modified class on the International Hot Rod Association Trail. Stay with us. back to Darlington International Dragway. Bob Barsha, Ted Jones, and Brett Kepner with you for semifinal round action in Pro Modified. There is Tim McAmis, and he will really have his hands full in this round. He'll be going up against one of the legends of the sport from North Carolina, Ronnie Sox. As we mentioned, Sox came out of retirement to build a car specifically for the new IHRA Pro Modified class. This is an appropriate opportunity to take a look back at the career of one of drag racing's best. This is the Mercury Comet on which Ronnie Sox's new Pro Modified machine is based. Together with Buddy Martin on the right, he formed the Sox Martin Racing Team, a factory effort for Plymouth that developed the legendary Hemi engine for drag racing purposes. Brett Kepner stopped into the paddock to talk with Ronnie Sox about why he came out of retirement and what his new car is all about.
Well, this machine is a replica of a car that you ran back in 1963 and 64, and it's got to mean a lot to you to bring something like this back out.
Yeah, it really does. The crowd appeal for these old cars is really exceptional, and this is a replica of the '64 Comet that I won my first national meet with in the Winternationals in California. That's the one reason I wanted to come out with this car. Plus, I do have a good power plant from it. I got this engine from Ricky Smith, and I had Sonny Leonard go back through it, and it's got about 1,230 horsepower without nitrous, so with the nitrous, it should be around 1,500.
1,500 horsepower under that lightweight fiberglass body. Operating doors leads to these cars being called Doorslammers. McAmis in the near lane has to be wondering about what it's going to be like going up against one of the best. Sox got him off the line, but he gets a little sideways on the racetrack, and here comes McAmis, who spins the tires but wins.
McAmis kicked in the second stage of the nitrous system, and you were right, Bob, it actually broke the tires loose, and you saw tire smoke. Look at the T701 he turned in. He's almost into the sixes.
Tim McAmis, you did what seemed to be impossible, beating Ronnie Sox. You're the youngest member of the 200-mile-per-hour club. This is absolutely one of the biggest upsets we've ever seen, especially for a class debut. Now listen to this, 701, 200 miles per hour. You've got lane choice.
Oh, gosh, I can't believe it. We just changed a little bit on the car from the last run, checked the clutch. Everything was basically the same. We just did with the best we could. The motor popped a little bit on that run. We're going to take it back and see if everything's okay.
I'll tell you what, nobody's running the sixes yet in Pro Mod. You're as close as anybody's come. That's Louie T of the meet.
Okay. Thanks, Brett.
We'll see you in the final.
That 701 will become the world record if he can back it up in the next round.
Now here's our other semifinal matchup. It'll be Mike Martin up against Ed Hoover. Now, we've talked about Hoover. This is his top sportsman car from last year. We figure he comes in at something of a mechanical disadvantage because he hasn't built a car from the ground up specifically for this class, as has Martin.
Ed Hoover ran a 702 with an 8 in the first round, followed that up with a 706. He needs about a 703 to get the world record. So if he can turn at least a 703 on this round, he'll end up with the world record.
And as you can see from his eyes, Ed Hoover is all business. Up come the RPM, but Martin got away first. Looks like Martin Hoover gets the wheels in the air, but drives around Martin. Can he hold it? Yes!
Ed Hoover pulls it out, and there's the record, a 7.02 with a 3, 194 miles per hour. What a great final we've got set up.
And that 702 is good, but it's not going to be good enough to beat Tim McAmis for lane choice. Let's hear from our winner.
I'll tell you what, as opposed to Tim McAmis, who's never been in a final round of any consequence before, this is a big moment for you, if only because you were back there paying your dues in nitrous cars 5 years ago, and this has got to be a good feeling.
Yeah, it is, and he's the guy that built my car, so I'm proud of him.
Good deal. We'll see you at the final, guy.
Thanks.
So Ed Hoover, who has already run a 706, will have to give up lane choice to Tim McAmis' 701. It should be a great final.
There's only one 200-mile-per-hour 57 Chevy in the sport of drag racing, and Robbie Vandergriff is the man who drove it over the double-century mark. But, Robbie, why do you rely on soft seal weather stripping and rubber detail items?
That's easy, Brad. Having the quickest, most consistent shoebox race car in the country requires only the best parts. I have to rely on the most respected of brand-name parts for my cars.
Well, what does this mean to the average enthusiast who's restoring a GM or Chrysler car?
Brett, that means they should use only high-quality, American-made rubber detail items from Soft Seal. If you want to be a winner, too, go with Soft Seal.
The best demand the best.
Track Facts are brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
Nitrous oxide injection seems to have a mystique all its own in Pro Modified, but it's really an easy system to figure out. If you've ever been around a campfire and you fanned on it to make it burn a little hotter, it's the extra oxygen that you're blowing into the fire that makes that campfire burn hotter and more efficiently. It's the same thing with nitrous. Bill Coolman in the Summit Equipment Chevy Beretta will hit this spring-loaded toggle switch and add 400 horsepower simply from the extra oxygen from nitrous oxide being sent into the engine by these two 10-pound containers of the compound. The oxygen is used in the combustion process. It makes a hotter, much more efficient charge in the engine and adds the horsepower. He has a second system that will add another 200 horsepower down near the finish line as long as everything is armed by this toggle switch before he leaves the starting line. As a driver stages up, you'll see what is known as a nitrous oxide purge. That's simply the driver checking to see if the nitrous oxide is functioning properly. When you see the vapor of 53 degree below zero nitrous oxide coming out, you know these guys are ready to race.
Shadows grow long at Darlington International Dragway, and we're ready for the finals in the newest professional class in drag racing, Pro Modified. Ed Hoover will be in one lane next to Tim McAmis.
Tim McAmis and the Matt Johnson Performance Center sponsored Pontiac. But now this Pontiac has a 615 cubic inch Chevrolet engine. Another one of the unique things about Pro Modified is they can run any engine they want to.
In any type of chassis, these two gentlemen vying for the honor as the first ever Pro Modified champion, as well as the first champion of the 1990s.
Ed Hoover in the Super Shops Camaro also running exactly 615 cubic inches of Chevrolet power on nitrous oxide.
And once again, the psychic battle continues. Who will stage first? And he breaks. McAmis breaks at the start line. Ed Hoover will get a walkover. Let's see if he'll keep his foot in it. Let's see what he can do. 200 miles an hour for Ed Hoover.
200.12, absolutely incredible. That couples up with a 7.07. We've got to talk to Hoover. Down on top end is our own Brett Kepner.
Ed, the car slows down just a little bit in the cool night air. That's kind of a disappointment, but the win, even with a 707 at 200 miles an hour, has got to be a great feeling.
Yes, it is. That's the first time this weekend, I believe, we went over 200 mile an hour, and we had the bad lane. It was a little bumpy, but not a bad ride.
Tim McAmis apparently went to the starting line with engine problems, we understand, and never left.
I was sure he had engine problems, but I wasn't sure exactly what kind.
And so Ed Hoover, who we thought was going to be at a disadvantage, is the first Pro Modified champion in International Hot Rod Association history.